Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Giga Texas. It's a Friday, and as you can tell behind me as some of these trucks going by, they are doing a lot of construction, a lot of land reclamation on the north end and also on the east side of the site today. And of course, that's where they're building the Optimus robot factory, and that is making a lot of progress today. Also, on the east side where they're building the joint venture with SpaceX, that Advanced Chip Fab. And the biggest development right now is the emerging foundation. So we're starting to get an idea of the size and the shape and the location exactly where they're going to be building that facility. So there is a lot more when it goes to construction for today's video, and I'll leave all of that for the actual video itself. Just two things that I want to cover briefly in the intro before we get flying. First, over on the southwest corner where they have the test track, we can see that the crews were getting the Cybercabs ready to go for more testing today. And this kind of video clip here gives you a little bit of an idea of what that preparations and the operations are to check everything with the Cybercabs, the tire pressure and other systems to make sure that they're safe for their testing for the day. And of course, I did get a chance to see the first test run of the day as the vehicles headed out onto the track for what is probably going to be several more hours of that testing on the track with the noise, vibration, harshness, and also just driving around that large oval. So great to see that continues. Another kind of related event is over the Outbound lot. It's just a lot of vehicles, many production versions of the Model Y, a lot of the Cybertrucks and Cybercabs, and of course the transport trucks were very busy picking up vehicles today as well. So that is going on. The last thing I just want to let you know, it's something I'm monitoring right now as far as my schedule, is today Starship is having the booster tested, static fire, and if that goes well, then they are possibly going to try to fly Flight 13 as early as next week. Now, a lot can happen, a lot can change, but if that happens, then I will be heading down to Starbase to try to cover that launch again. And of course, get some more updates around Starbase, because there has been a lot of construction, a lot of changes, which is only surpassed by what we see here at Giga Texas. So for that, that's a quick introduction, things I wanted to show you. Of course, more trucks going by, bringing dirt, as I mentioned at the beginning of the intro. But for now, let's get into the drone. Let's fly around, see what Giga Texas looks like on this Friday. And as always, thank you very much for your support. Have a great weekend.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Well, welcome back to Giga Texas. We're start here on the east side, taking advantage of the early morning light, looking at the joint venture, SpaceX and Tesla Advanced Chip Fab construction site. What we can tell is that the foundation is beginning to take shape, and we'll have to see how much it extends to the south and the north. Right now, they're working at most likely the middle part of the building. But it gives us a little bit of an idea of the size, which may be slightly smaller than what people were thinking. I also see that this entire construction site is very oblong, so a rectangular building is going to have to fit into that space. So we'll get back close to that view here in a moment. The other thing I wanted to show you here, which is sort of related, is all of these new trailers that have been added in. You can see the markings for the asphalt roads, and this is most likely the new central complex for a lot of the contractors for the construction that's going to be happening all over the site over the next several years, and probably this advanced technology chip fab particularly. As we get back to the foundation, this is what it's looking like right now. And we could probably think that it's going to go a little bit farther to the east than where it looks like right now, but clearly the rectangular building is going to be almost in the center of the site now. There's going to be a lot of space here, it looks like, on the east side, near where all of this gravel is stacked up, and the sign for the groundbreaking, which you can see right in the center of the screen by that truck. As I maneuver back towards the east over River Road, we can see how the markings of the road are taking shape. They're preparing to put asphalt on the second lane, and we see all of this steel that's being laid out here. And as I have speculated on my previous video, I'm thinking that maybe this is telling us that this is part of the steel that's going to be used for the factory itself. And if that's the case, that kind of further gives us an idea of the width of this foundation. There's also the road that's on the right-hand bottom corner of the screen. You can see the Cybertruck driving on it. That may also indicate where the extent of the construction will be, at least temporarily. So we'll keep monitoring this and figure out together. But as I pull away, another great shot of the overall shape of the site. You can see how oblong it is, especially with the curve of the road on the right-hand side of the screen. And I still do expect the workshops at the bottom of the screen and the recycle center to be relocated at some point, and we'll just keep watching that, and that'll give us an idea further about the size of that building. Now, the water retention pond is coming together. Most of the retaining walls are in now. They're working on the last segments over by that southwest corner where the outflow channel is, and they're still doing some work on the inner part, the center part of the pond, and we can see that earthwork underway right now. And they've got some dirt ramps over that retaining wall for the trucks to come in and out. I also see the graded area has gotten almost all of the dirt in now, and we'll keep watching how that fills in. That's where they had all the trees removed. As we come across the road, take a look at the staging yard here. You can see that there's some glass panels that are stored there, and that'll be useful for the south part of the building where the broken window is. I also noticed these items. I'll zoom in. This is just some solar powered power walls, and these are used for just having portable power around the site, I believe. And a good view of the test track, testing and calibration lot, and the helicopter pad, and just a better view of all of these trailers and equipment on that staging yard. As we pass the parking garage and fly by the last remaining original pond here, you can see that staging yard. The 3 big white tanks still have not been moved, but most of the crates have been moved away and put into the building for installation. The water retention pond here is empty still, and you can tell what the liner looks like. That's on a much bigger scale what we're going to see on that new retention pond over near the construction site for the Advanced Technology Chip Fab. As we get to the corner here on the southeast part of the building, you can see that broken pane. I will kind of maneuver the drone here and zoom in so you can see what it looks like. They still have the fence around just to protect people from any possibility that it may collapse. But that's why those extra panes of glass over on that east side staging yard is important, as I expect to see that replaced here soon. All 6 of the fans are in operation today at the chilling plant. Maybe that tells us that they're doing more training on full self-driving. Hopefully it's either the V14 Lite so that it can go out to more people, or maybe they're doing some training for the next version of the FSD, possibly for the Cybercabs. Speaking of which, there's only one here at the exit point of the factory today, and that's not unusual since this is not a production day. But what we do see is a lot more of this equipment. All along this east side, some more containers on the upper left, and this is part of continuing to expand in the production capabilities within the walls here at the Cybercab production line. Of course, we passed the temporary chillers, the construction entrance, more of the materials here by these tents and along the roadway, and even more here by these receiving doors. So the amount of equipment that is being moved in continues to be a lot. It has been going on for some time, and still much more to go. I have been seeing a lot of new permits that talk about work on the inside of this part of the building, and one of them is what they're doing here. And it talks about a fire hydrant reconfiguration, which is probably why we're seeing all of the cuts through the concrete here. But I also think that they opened up this wall so they can put those large water tanks, or the white tanks that we saw on that south end staging yard, because they are marked for the body in white, and that is what is behind this wall. So as I kind of maneuver around, continuing on this east side to the north, we'll just take a look at some of the castings, also the baghouse filtration plant, which is coming into view the upper right-hand side of the screen. And with the lighting, a little bit of operations on the inside of those doors. So you can see that there's more racks of castings. And of course, there are a lot of them here. Most of these are for the Model Ys. And we do see many more here on the ground, some of which I think are for the Cybercabs, and more recycling and other materials for melting down so they can continue to make more of the castings. So I'm going to pull away. We're going to reposition over the central campus and proceed up towards the north and take a look at the construction that is going on up in this part of the site. Passed over the central campus, I wanted to show you the work that is being done here on the south end of the site for the Optimus factory. You see more of the clearing has gone to the south, and they are putting in geotextile membranes in the valleys between the hills and starting to fill in more of the dirt. Again, that is for strengthening and stabilizing the soil between various layers of the dirt that is brought in to make sure that it's ready for heavy construction. We do see geopiers at the south end of the foundation, more of the footings being constructed and filled in, and a lot more of the steel has been delivered. On the left-hand side of the screen, we see even more, and trucks bringing in the steel. That has been going on all day as I've been flying around the site. We do see the cranes are busy pulling in more of the steel items for assembly, and the building itself is starting to expand more to the north and to the south, and also from each of the sides. It looks like it's now close to 7, maybe starting the 8th column width. And of course, there's still a lot more yet to be done. I like this view because you can see all the way back to the main factory. And it's just a reminder that this one that we are seeing under construction will be very nearly the same size as the original factory, maybe just a little bit narrower. We do see more of the footing construction on the north, and well-defined now the 2 beveled edges of the foundation. We're going to kind of maneuver here to the northeast corner, look back across the site, and then I'm going to position the drone so that we can fly lower and across each of these angled corners. This will be the northernmost part of this factory. And again, it's the same shape that the original factory is built in. There are still more footings that have to be constructed here on the very far north for the perimeter grade beam. And you can see where the extent is here as they are constructing more of the footings. I also want to just point out the size of the workers in relation to the footings, just so you get an idea of exactly how massive these are, and they're designed to support this gigantic facility. As I mentioned, there are more trucks bringing in steel. Some of it's being stored here temporarily on the side of the access road. Of course, more is being brought in and almost immediately stacked and sorted and then assembled into the building. And here you can see that it is in fact 7 columns width right now. And we should start seeing the 8th on the north side pretty soon. Of course, more of the steel, more of the footings here on the south end with this lower better view, and more footings being constructed right now through this sort of linear excavation between the pedestal footings on the left and the geopiers on the right. And I'll keep moving back at a lower altitude here, showing you the fill material that is being brought in and how they are working to reclaim this part of the ground, and what it looks like as the grade is closing in to being level to the original field where this building is being constructed. And as I continue to maneuver around here on the southeast side, a few things I wanted to show you is the amount of fill and reclamation work here, but also if you can look at the equipment compared to the hills that are still above the ground, you get a really good sense of the scale, which is again hard to show, but the center dump trucks are very large and they are being dwarfed by the hill. Another great shot of that geotextile membrane in the valleys of the hill here as well. As I pull away to the northeast, just at the bottom of the screen coming into view is where they are reclaiming even more of this part of the site. This is more of the old sand and gravel mine area. The trees grew in after it was abandoned, and they are starting to reclaim part of that. On the left-hand side of the screen, we see another large section being prepared for maybe materials or trailers, with some of the tree debris for mulching, and of course this large staging yard for all of the steel that is being temporarily staged here until they can get to it and install it into the building. I also like this view back across towards the main Optimus factory with downtown Austin in the upper right-hand side of the screen. The Lone Tree Field is really starting to look crowded now. Of course, the access road down the center on the upper left is where River Road will come through the tree line onto this field. And a better look at this newly graded section just north of the Northeast Trailer Complex, where I would expect to see more of the operations, most likely from the east side where that Advanced Chip Fab is being constructed, so that they can clear that space for construction. More materials here along with the diesel fueling station, and there appears to be earthwork and steel being stored in this newly cleared location. Of course, more of the workshops have been added in. It looks like they may be working on pipes, which may indicate this might be where the pipe fabrication on the east side is located or relocated to, or at least partially. But this is a good view with the lighting inside, and we can see that new structure on the concrete foundation with the steel columns now has a roof, and it looks like maybe it's going to be half the size of the foundation, but I'll keep watching that. More of the dirt has been removed here. The grade is almost level all the way across, and of course that pipe that is still there, which is back to the original days of construction at Giga Texas. Coming over through the trees onto River Road, just a good view of how it is looking with the construction of the under the road drainage. And the work looks like it's almost done. They are just working on the outfall channel and redoing the surface so they can put the curbs in and the asphalt. As we pass back across this field over the water filtration pond and to the battery cathode plant next to the crash test facility, I'll zoom in and see that they are positioned with a crane loading up items into that temporary platform, the covered workshops, and of course the crash test facility itself, and how it looks with the main factory in the background. The bottom of the screen, all but one of the green transformers has been relocated, and we're going to see that on the east side of Cortex 2. And as I maneuver here, just a great view of how this staging yard on the right and where the battery test cell is located has all become one common grade. Speaking of which, this is a great view of the work in the middle of the battery cathode plant in Cortex 2 with pier work and additional work on both sides of the road on the right-hand side of the screen, and how this construction site is looking right now. There's been some more workshops added in, some more of the containers, and of course a lot more of the materials. And some of the pipe segments are also here too. I don't know if it's for fabrication or just storage until they're put into the part 2 of the cooling system. As we pass the die shop and looking down into the alley between it and the battery cathode plant, I'll pull away briefly just to show you what Tesla Road looks like right now. More steel being delivered to the north with that truck. And as we get back to the southeast corner of Cortex 2, there are some changes I want to show you. One of which is notice that 4 of the fans are working again today. 2 on the ground where the temporary chillers used to be located on the north side. You can see that there has been some equipment brought in, and they're using this as sort of a storage area. There's a fence around it and maybe a small tent with a workshop here. Some of the transformers are still in place, but they are not being used right now. The Megapack site looks like it is getting some work with scaffolding along the wall. And of course, more of the chiller units that are under the plastic by the phase 2 or part 2 of the cooling system, which still needs to have a lot of its pipes installed. The construction site's on the right with more piers being built, and then this large workshop with all the Megapacks, and this is where those transformers have been relocated. This suggests that they are preparing to install these in association with the part 2 of the chiller plant, mimicking what we saw with part 1. On the north end, this is a great view of how it looks today. There's a concrete truck and some doors are open. Maybe they're doing some concrete work on the inside. Here with the trenches that they put in, they've been adding more conduit. It's going to allow them to put more of these platforms and the transformers like you see underneath the drone. And of course, on the lower side on the right is where they're putting in the beams for the Megapacks on top of the screw type piers. With the lighting, this is a great look into these workshops, these rounded topped tent-like structures next to the Megapacks. You get a good view of what is going on inside there, plus the scale, especially with the workers that were nearby. The parapet wall and the cable trays are very evident here that connect into the Megapack site, and that will continue when the new Megapacks are brought in. The conduit installation here next to the 4 rounded top workshops continues. It looks like some of the red concrete has been poured, and you can see some of the concrete trucks driving around here. When I first got here, I saw more of the concrete trucks, and they were at work on this conduit. You can tell that the concrete has just been poured and they are smoothing it out. And we're going to now bring the drone up to a much higher altitude. I'm going to get ready to cross over the highway and look at what's going on the west side. Before I get there, just notice the transport trucks at the bottom of the screen. This is something that is constantly happening here today as many of the vehicles are being transported off-site. What we see here in the middle of the screen is the Alamo paving and concrete plant. This is not part of Giga Texas, but it has played a big role in supporting much of the construction of the factory. The reason why I came over here is I wanted to show you the continued earthwork on this land just to the south of Tesla Road. This is part of Giga Texas. You can tell that they have been very busy bringing in dirt and reclaiming the graded section. You can also tell the depth of the ground next to Tesla Road on the left-hand side of the screen. This is all what is remaining of the old sand and gravel mining operations here. So it looks like they're just spreading the dirt around to make the grade level, but not level with the road, just level across most of this site, at least what it looks like right now. Of course, the rental equipment lot is fairly busy. This was relocated from the northeast Lone Tree Field to allow for all the construction that we saw earlier in the video. Another view of some more earthwork that is happening near where the tree line is, and I'll kind of turn back so you can get a better view of the graded area. Of course, downtown Austin for context, and the rental equipment lot with some of those trailers and some Cybertrucks loaded up too today. As I continue to maneuver back to the south, I wanted to check in with all of this steel items. A lot of this has been here for a while. Much of it was used for interior construction and adding of mezzanines and floors in the factory, but it looks like it's diminishing a little bit, and maybe this is related to the Advanced Technology Chip Fab. Maybe some of this steel will be moved over there for construction. I don't know, but it's something I've been watching for quite some time. More of the transformers on the left next to another thing I've been watching a long time, the Evapco fan units. Those still have not moved, but there is this new land clearing. We saw this underway a couple of videos ago. Now it's starting to get much larger, and it's next to this kind of fenced off area where the containers are, which used to be at one time a welding shop. And now it looks like it's just sort of materials and containers. So maybe they're just making more space to relocate more items so they can do additional construction. Speaking of which, I do expect more construction sometime in this field that you see at the top of the screen, just to the south of this staging yard with the tents and all of the racks and some of the other red and white items. This is still, from what I understand, eventually going to be a welcome center. We'll see when and if that actually happens. As you all know, if you've been following my videos for a long time, they do make changes in their plans often, so sometimes it's hard to know for sure. What I did notice here is the work is continuing with the expanding the mega packs for the Tesla semis. This is what it looks like right now. And there's several different risers. They've removed the transformer and they're doing some work inside that pit. I think this may indicate we're going to see more of the semis, probably the refresh ones, operating here at Giga Texas. That's certainly, I hope so. The delivery center is getting busy for delivering to customers. The Cybercab is still underneath the Tesla letters for a great display by the small kids track. And one thing I did notice in the outbound lot, starting right here today, is that there are just a lot of vehicles in the lot today. We have Cybercabs, we have a lot of Cybertrucks, we have many of the Model Ys. Some of them are clearly the performance models. We'll also see the base model rear-wheel drive, and we also will see many of the YLs, which is newly under production here at Giga Texas. If we pass the supercharger tents, this is a great look with the zoom in of all of the vehicles here. Everything is being interspersed together, so there's no real divisions or groups of just, say, Cybercabs or Cybertrucks. And more overflow on the south end here of a lot of the Model Ys. So I'll keep working around here with the zoom. You can see that some of the Cybercabs have a lot of dust on them, so they have been here for a while. So those are not swapping out. I am not sure what the reason is, but clearly they're going to need to dust those pretty soon. But a great view of all of the Model Ys around in this part of the site. I'm going to just sort of stay at this altitude and fly east to west, looking to the north, so you can just really get appreciation for how many vehicles are here in the outbound lot of every kind. Going to fly back towards the end of line center here briefly, and with a lower altitude, a better view of all of these vehicles. As I mentioned again, they're just all been intermixed, which is an interesting development. Many more are being staged here next to the test track. And some of them have, you can see the windshield wipers have been on there, so some dust too. Dust is a big thing because of all the construction here, and it just affects everything. There is a lot of more Cybercabs here next to the end of line facility. And as I kind of maneuver the drone here over the wash route rack, we can see more Cybercabs with vehicles or trucks getting ready to transport them. So I'm going to do a little bit of a bonus shot here, show you kind of a bird's eye spiral up view of all of these Cybercabs. You can see that some of them do have the Cybercab logos, some of them do not. So it is a mix, and the Model Ys here are Model YLs. So they are being prepared for shipping over near where all of these Cybercabs are located. We come back to the far west of the outbound lot, just another view of how many vehicles there are here. And again, just sort of a mixture of the vehicles. And I think that may just show us a little bit of their operations as far as how they load up vehicles and where they are going around the country. So one last look across the outbound lot, just a good view of how many vehicles and transport trucks are here today. turned around looking at the material staging yard here. Of course, all those transformers and something we've been watching for a while, some of the workshops at the bottom of the screen. And we can see several trailers with the mobile superchargers here, maybe getting ready to be deployed somewhere here pretty soon. Sometimes they use them for overflow when it's a busy holiday weekend, and sometimes they're just used if there's outages of the superchargers. We do see some of the equipment being stored in this section, those cabinets on the left, which I think is a ventilation system. The blue pipes here, all part of testing equipment for cleaning out the cooling pipes that we see, for example, at Cortex 1 and 2. The supercharger workshop is very busy with many more of the superchargers that have been assembled with the folding unit bases have been delivered again, so there's plenty more of those. So this is a pretty major supercharger assembly unit here for a lot of the area around Giga Texas. And of course, more of the materials being stored here for production. What I did notice is the kind of the operations center for the Cybercabs and testing on the track was quite busy today. I happened to be here right when all the workers were doing checks of the vehicles. It looks like they were testing maybe the wheel covers or the air pressure. They were doing some other work on the insides of the vehicle and just all generally getting ready to drive. We do see some Cybercabs with the Cybercab logos, which would imply without steering wheels or pedals, and then some of the other ones were with steering wheels and pedals, but hard to see for sure, but most of these appear to have the Cybercab logo. So to be sure, or at least help with the question that I know I'll get, is how many of these are autonomous fully or not. I'm going to come over the power lines and we'll bring the drone back down here and try to look at each of these Cybercabs and see if they have the logos or not. Many of these do appear to have the logos. Looking at this side here, these, most where the workers are, do not. So kind of a mix, almost maybe 30% with the logos and the rest without. But I'm going to maneuver the drone away from the op center back towards the track. At this moment, there are no vehicles, but I'll show you some driving on the track in just a little bit. What I wanted to do is just get a check on the rumble strips and this kind of cobblestone or cobble brick part of the road that they're adding in. And several different sections have been laid out. There's a lot more of the materials waiting for that assembly. And that's just a good view of how that looks today. I'm going to cross over this infield, which eventually is going to have asphalt and kind of wavy roads, show you what these lanes look like. And while I'm here, I'm going to splice in a video of some of the vehicles that are driving. This is just a little bit later. I wanted to at least show you what it looked like for the first run of the day. And here you go. And it's probably around 10 to 15 Cybercabs on the track at any one time. And of course, each one is using different lanes as they are gathering different information. And just great to see them all running around the track. And I'm glad to be able to see that. I wasn't sure if I was going to capture that because they've been doing a lot of the testing of the vehicles on the track later in the day. So that'll bring us to an end of this video. I'll bring the drone up to a higher altitude so we can see the entire track, look back to the main factory, and at the very top of the screen is where we began the flight today on the east and north part of the site. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great weekend. Take care.